Politicians get in trouble for flip-flopping on issues, but for podcasters, changing opinions and approaches is a survival tactic. Think about these 3 questions over the next few months to prep your show for 2023 and beyond. Hello and welcome to another podcast Pontifications with me, Evo Terra. It's early June, which is an odd time for me to be pontificating about podcasting. Because previously, this was the month I took off when it was a daily show. This is my birthday month. My wedding anniversary, 33 years and counting, baby, was just last week. And it's hot as hell in Phoenix, which is where I live. And so for me, June has always been a good time to pause and take stock. Sort of a mid-year respite and a restating of assumptions, if you will, for myself, for my business, and the larger world of podcasting. And I think June is still a good month to do that, even though I'm no longer taking that month-long break, which lets me podcast through my ponderings now. Ooh. And I've been doing a little bit of that pondering, okay, more than a little bit of that, about what serious podcasters like you should be pondering as the year progresses. Because the next 6 to 18 months are going to be weird for a lot of reasons, from political to technological to economical. And all of those are going to combine to make new challenges and opportunities for podcasters of all shapes and sizes. So today, I wanted to share with you just 3 of those challenges or opportunities as I see them. Things or ways of thinking, if you will, that could do with some serious consideration on your part. Because I'm convinced that all of them will leave a mark on podcasting. Now, what shape and what color that mark is, I really don't know. Much of that is up to you and how you deal with them for your own podcasting efforts. Ready? Let's begin. So those 3 points to consider. The first trend you need to weigh for yourself is the ongoing insistence of dissing programmatic content. And by content, yes, I mostly mean ads. Now look, if you don't sell CPM-based ads on your show, like I don't sell CPM-based ads on this show, you have less to consider, but still, you should pay attention to this one. I think we podcasters collectively are too protective of our audience. And yeah, I know the audience is something worth protecting, I get it, and no, I would never suggest you do something to damage the relationship you have with your audience. But at the same time, I think the evidence is lacking when it comes to the likelihood that our audience will bail on a podcast if it runs programmatic ads. And honestly, if anything, the evidence shows that, in general, audiences are pretty tolerant of hearing ads on podcasts, yes, even programmatic ads. But yes, I get it. I have read the exact same studies that you have that show how much more effective, hard-to-buy, baked-in, endorsement-style host-rads ads are over, every other form of advertising, which mostly means announcer-read ad spots. Now, I don't doubt any of those studies. I just don't believe that the majority of companies eager to spend money on easy-to-buy programmatic ads care about those studies. Look, when it comes to buying ads en masse, easy wins. And while there are some exciting ad tech companies working to reduce the friction that's inherent with the host-read world, that rate of change is far less rapid than what can and is happening with algorithmic automatic placements. So even if you are anti-programmatic ads, at least be open to having your mind changed as the months progress. I'd hate to see you miss out on opportunities because you thought you were doing the right thing by protecting your audience. They're probably not as fragile as you think. The second trend I need you to think about is video. Specifically, I'm not so sure you'll be able to ignore video for much longer. Now, that's coming from a guy who is and has been a staunch audio-first kind of guy. But this staunch audio-first kind of guy has been making full videos of this show available on my site on YouTube for a few years now. And yes, podcasting is for the ears. I fully buy that. But for the new group of people coming to podcasting, it's not only for their ears. It's not only audio. More and more of them are assuming that video will be a part of the podcasting experience. And when they don't find that video, they're going to start to wonder why you don't have it. So I think the question you need to ask yourself this summer needs to shift away from, do I need a video component, to the question that those people are already asking. What's stopping me from having a video component? And I don't think, by the way, you can get away with a quick and dirty upload of an audiogram or just a side-by-side video of you and your hosts or your guests from some remote recording software. Look, just like you don't upload your unedited audio files to your hosting company. By the way, you don't do that, right? You don't actually do that? Okay, good. Yeah, you're going to need to find the time and the tools to help you make a solid video. Look, I honestly believe there are less painful ways of doing that coming soon. But for now, start thinking about it. The third and final thing I want you contemplating over the next few months is paid subscriptions. Specifically, ask yourself, why aren't you leaning into paid subscriptions heavily? Podcasting should be free and open. I can hear you shouting at me right now. Well, look, the good news is that for the foreseeable future, we'll continue to have just that. Free podcasts, many of them subsidized, that are available on the open web. Go podcasting. I don't see any of that changing. But the free and open majority of podcasting doesn't preclude paid for and closed, a subset of podcasting that way. Nor does a paid for and closed subset of podcasting threaten the free and open majority of podcasting. Not in my view. I think they can live happily side by side, mostly because they are happily living side by side right now. Both can keep growing and both probably will. Your question should be, how can you embrace both? Not should I, but how can you? What would you offer? I don't think an ad-free or a sponsor-free version is enough, he said from personal experience, and I don't think that more content is enough. Actually, less content might be something your audience would be willing to pay for, which I know that sounds weird. But there's little doubt that the friction for subscriptions is coming down quickly for both the listeners and the creators. So it's worth your time to consider how you can embrace this reality as a way to better serve your audience. Now, for now, those three are enough. If over the next 3 to 6 months you can figure out how to adapt your show to take better advantage of just one of them, I think you'll win. And I think you and your show will sail through these challenges ahead. With that, I shall be back next week with yet another podcast, Pontifications. Cheers!